My sense has been it's too late to be bearish, too early to be bullish, but the pieces are starting to fall into place. And
the Bitcoin price is moving sideways, is extremely boring at the moment. Is it too late to be bearish? Is it too soon to be bullish? Well, at least some things are looking as if they are falling in the right place right now. Hey everyone, it's the Patient Hodler coming at you with another video, and today we are going to really focus on Bitcoin, and we are going to look at one or the other altcoin to be in, because in my opinion this is the phase where you want to be analyzing altcoins before they are going to pump heavily in the next upcoming alt season. But in order to evaluate if this is the right strategy or not, we have to take a look at the broader market and what's going on at the moment. But before we start, please keep in mind that I'm a crypto and NFT investor and not your financial advisor. So please do your own research before you ape full degen into Bitcoin and or the other altcoins out there. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, please smash up the like button as hard as you can.
The law is clear.
Thanks for the like. And with that out of the way, let's get finally started. There are a variety of factors that are withholding the market at the moment. And the most prominent, most recent example is Gary Gensler's outrageous crackdown on the altcoin space by going against Binance and Coinbase, at the same time labeling a variety of cryptocurrencies as securities. But let's listen to one opinion here about what is really going on, and then we can assess the situation a little bit better.
Even going back to 2021 when we became a public company, before becoming a public company, you have to disclose everything about your business in depth. There was many back and forth revisions of our S1. And frankly, they had all the knowledge then, and they allowed us to become a public company. And then we're going through time, and Chair Gensler has statements to Congress saying that he doesn't feel he has the authority to regulate this industry, and we're seeing conflicting statements from the CFTC and the SEC chair, and we even filed a formal petition with the SEC asking them for clarity about a number of points in the law, which they never responded to. And then this Wells notice and a complaint arrives. And so this isn't good for America. It's not good for the industry, obviously, and we now need to go get clarity from the courts.
The SEC's allegations are that both Coinbase and Binance have listed and sold unregistered securities, and that also their staking programs are unregistered securities, and then also a variety of claims against Binance that are not existing against Coinbase. In this article, Brian Fry, an attorney, has been asked, are there reasons for the company to be optimistic about the lawsuits? And Brian Fry answers, yes, maybe. I am not optimistic about the SEC's claims against Binance. The complaint is brutal. Binance has essentially admitted to everything the SEC alleges. It is a disaster. However, for Coinbase, Brian has a more bullish view for the outcome and actually thinks that Coinbase can get away with it. I think Coinbase is much better situated. It has been trying to comply with the SEC's rules for quite some time, and the SEC has refused to even engage with Coinbase good faith efforts at compliance. I don't think that is a good look, and I think at least some courts might object to it. Courts expect agencies to act in predictable ways. Coinbase has been asking the SEC what it wants, and the SEC has been refusing to respond.
I think there's been clarity for years. I'm not going to speak about one. I'm not going to speak to any one matter. I'm not going to get into any one company or one token. But I can't speak about any possible investigations. And I'm not speaking to all the other tokens. But I'm not going to get into any one filing because I'm not going to talk about any one of these tokens. I can't speak to any one case or any one situation.
Could you speak to the Ethereum issue?
I'm not going to go into any one set of conversations between the agency and a company. Not want me to speak about any one set of facts and circumstance. And the laws are clear. The law is clear. I think the law is clear.
That could make Coinbase look like the good actor and the SEC look like the bad actor. And actually, at least in the crypto space, the SEC is certainly looking like the bad actor. Also, I think, he continues, it is a problem that the SEC has still not provided an even remotely coherent explanation of what it wants to regulate, what it thinks is authorized to regulate, why it wants to regulate, how it wants to regulate, what it wants its regulations to achieve, or really, literally anything. The SEC has spent years saying it dislikes crypto assets of any kind, but it hasn't explained why it dislikes them. It hasn't explained why it thinks they are a problem, and it hasn't even pretended to explain how it would regulate crypto assets in a way that it thinks would be more consistent with its regulatory mandate. It's a security if the SEC wants to regulate it, says Brian Fry.
Yeah, so my sense has been it's too late to be bearish, too early to be bullish, but the pieces are starting to fall into place. And, as Mike said, 20% arbitrary number, and it's really only the S&P cap-weighted index that's up 20%, equal weight, still languishing in the middle of the range. Small caps, micro caps still at the bottom of the range. So
one very important factor for the markets is the outcome of the next FOMC meeting. This next meeting takes place on June the 14th at 2 p.m. EST. It could be the first time that the Fed chooses to hold rates steady in 18 months.
I don't want to get too technical of are we in a bull market, but if you think about the three things we need an earnings recovery, we need the Fed to maybe not pivot, but at least be done, and then we need market breadth to confirm that an early cycle bull market's in place.
And as we have heard right now, that is one of the most important factors for a market turnaround, according to Fidelity's global head of macro. However, this isn't a foregone conclusion. Interest rate futures currently imply a 1 in 4 chance, 25%, that the Fed decides to increase rates once more. So a rate hike is not fully off the table, especially with a new CPI report coming on the first day of the Fed meeting. According from what we have heard from Fidelity's director of global macro, the situation is smoothening out. He does not expect more lows in the S&P 500 in the broader market, and therefore, as Bitcoin has shown itself to be very highly correlated to the S&P 500, if that is true, then we are also expecting to have the crypto market, especially Bitcoin, smoothening out as well, moving sideways. I know it's boring, but this could be the time where we are actually getting ourselves into position and ready for the next bull run. And in that sense, I want to follow up with some bullish statements and some bullish metrics for the next bull run, and that imply that good things are coming for Bitcoin. My first indicator is a headline that is from Vox, and headlines like these are usually implying the contrary. Now might be a good time to consider quitting crypto. And in my personal opinion, which is not financial advice, that's exactly the absolute wrong time if these news outlets are publishing that it's a good time to exit or enter a specific thing. It's usually the inverse that is correct. At the moment, it is clear that a majority of retail investors is fearful with regards to the altcoin space. In this chart, we are seeing the accumulated altcoins without Bitcoin and without Ethereum. And as we can see here, this chart is testing the new support for the second time, and it is going to be a decisive moment whether this can hold and bounce to the upside and lead maybe to a small altcoin season, or if we are going to fall through the trapdoor and putting in way lower prices for all altcoins. I am personally going to hold still while we are at this decisive moment. But the last time that we have touched this support, we had an explosive move to the upside. Keep that in mind. Let us have a look at this chart, the days before the halving and what happened after the halving, boxed together, and a comparison of how long it took. So in the first case, it took us exactly 1 year until the halving, and then 406 days to reach our bull cycle peak. In the next bear and bull cycle, it took us 539 days to reach the halving and 525 days to reach the next top. Then 518 days until the halving and 546 days to reach the next top. And finally, we find ourselves again in a very similar pattern, and we are right now more or less halfway through the way to the halving, which is in April 2024, and from there we would have another 500 days to reach our top, where we are in a continuous bull run. Do you think it can all repeat again? So wherever you are on the world, you are launching unregistered securities. I'm suing you, and see you in the next video.
We don't actually know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but it's a study question a few lectures from now to ask you to tell me who you think Satoshi Nakamoto is. So I won't ask that now. And he started with a very simple sentence in his email. I've been working on a new electronic cash system that fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party. It's kind of a modest statement. And so the question is this another internet layer? We're going to explore that this whole semester.